What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We got a great video today down at the Dry Tortugas National Park. Took the Yankee Freedom down there. This was back in June. Been sitting on this footage for a little bit. Go ahead and watch this video all the way through. I'll be giving some tips and tricks, the locations of where I saw these fish. But also, you got to be looking at the weather the day of and know where the wind's at and where the best visibility is going to be. So it's not, a foolproof plan, but I can show you a few spots to where you're going to see more fish than just cruising over the flats. So this first stretch I'm snorkeling is off the north beach, and it's going to be the north outer wall of the moat. Pretty popular spot from other videos I've seen and whatnot. And the biggest key with this wall is that I already had all my own equipment, so I was able to get right to the beach, get right in the water, and I was the first person to go up and down this wall. Really just go down it. So in terms of no fish have been spooked or anything so far, which, this is a pretty popular spot, so, it's not going to be like, there's not going to be any fish if you're, not the first one down. But getting down there first, some of the bigger fish that are going to spook out and go into hiding once they realize there's a bunch of people coming through, you're not going to get to see. And you'll see a little bit later, there are a couple cool of those larger fish species that I was able to see. And another thing is just stay cool. Don't be splashing around, acting like a fish out of water, anything like that. Just need to be relaxed, control your breathing. As an example right here, I got Allie with me, and she's kind of, got her legs down, flailing around a little bit. You want to go into this nice calm position as such. All of that movement sends out vibrations in the water, and it's going to scare away the littler fish and maybe even bring in some sharks. So if you don't want to have any sharks come for you, just mellow out in that water. But here we go, little damselfish here on the sidewall. In between fish, I'm just going to let it play. Enjoy the sounds of the water. It's pretty soothing, relaxing. And then once we get into some new fish, call them out. As you can see here, there's 3 mangrove snappers down there, a little blue tang there on the left. And yeah, these snappers are pretty chill if you're calm with them. They'll let you get up pretty close. We got some different wrasse species, slippery dicks down here. Little porkfish, blue stripe grunt. Got the parrotfish swimming out to the right there. We're gonna take it on down this wall, see what other fish are down there. See a little yellowtail snapper. We got a good little grouping down here. I'm gonna go ahead and take a dive down, get a closer look. Got that little grunt there in front. A few snappers right there, the old mangrove snappers, one of the most common fish species down here. See that porkfish, the blue tang. I think I saw a little tiny angelfish. And here is there's a white grunt on the left. Here's a very young mutton snapper, one of the most prized game fish down here in the Keys for fishermen and spear fishermen. visibility this day was decent. You know, no Bahamas blue water or anything like that, but it was still very serviceable. You know, probably 15, 20 foot of viz. Against this wall, we got some Bermuda chubs here. And those white spots, and they're in that juvenile phase. Very common fish down here you'll find through the Keys, especially if you put out a chum bag. They will come right to it. They don't get fished, not a very good tasting fish, by American standards at least. Fish love rubble piles, structure piles like this. They can get in the cracks and crevices and hide. So here we go, a little school of grunts, and here we go, long spine squirrel fish. Pretty cool, don't see that every day. Yeah, we got the chubs, snappers, grunts, all of them intermixed right here. Got a little cocoa damselfish down there. And this big boy is a juvenile Cubera snapper. Definitely not something you see every day. Being the first person down this wall definitely gave me a much higher chance of seeing him than anyone else who came after me, because he was pretty cool around me at first. Let me kind of swim around with him. Then after a while he went into his hiding spot in the wall, his home. And these fish will have little territories they'll set up. So this is definitely his home. He's used to people coming up and down this wall, so depends how friendly he is, if you'll see him. But here we got a school of parrotfish. Those beautiful colors on them. Swimming off, and then right there coming up underneath is a hogfish. One of the most highly sought after game fish down here in the Keys. They're part of the wrasse family, one of the biggest fish in the wrasse family. But we even have a restaurant down here named after the hogfish out on Stock Island. So they are a well-known species, and this is just a juvenile one. Look what I found sitting out in the sand off the wall. A much larger mutton snapper. And they love the sand. They will sit out in the sand versus up in the reef. So I'm just getting a little breath hold right here, so I can hopefully go down and get a good up close vid, see how chill he'll be with me. And he's pretty relaxed. This one still isn't keeper size, doesn't look like, but we got a couple yellow jacks swim by right there, another couple fish that people will eat down here. This drain looks very inviting, like you just want to swim down it. And that's what I do, except here kind of scrape up the back of my legs a little bit on the top of it, of course. But I do make it through to the other side into the moat and manage to find my way back out without doing any more damage. What we got right here, it looks like a little school of barjacks, a couple snappers, sergeant major, little tiny sergeant majors. There we go. A little school of those tiny sergeant majors. They'll only get 3-4 inches, maybe like 5 or 6 inches. So these are little babies. And this coral here is looking half bleached to pretty much bleached. A little bit of color left. And yeah, go down, look at this little lizard fish blending into the bottom. Got the old yellowtail snapper here. You take a fishing charter down here in the Keys, you're almost guaranteed to catch one of these one way or another. They were doing some construction on the fort while we were down here. Wanted to check out these anchors. They got a little dual anchor setup here. Got the old hogfish here, giving me just a perfect broadside shot if I had the spear gun, but this one would not be legal size. Got the juvenile ones here inshore. And yeah, another little school of those barjacks swim by. And here's a little damselfish. I was checking under here to see if I see any lobsters, but bam, a couple permit. That's not something you see every day by any stretch of the imagination. Seemed like they were kind of coming in to see what I was doing. And kind of spooked them once I looked up. And yeah, another little mutton snapper. It was nice seeing a good handful of those guys. Little lobster carapace. Looks like they probably got shedded. And here, around this corner up here is where I see the most amount of fish. We got these glass minnows, that pork fish down there, another little grunt, sergeant major, these sooty terns and these frigate birds were hanging out on these old pilings. This was an old dock back in the day, maybe all the way back to whenever Civil War era when the fort was being built. This could have been where the original dock was. And over here we got that yellowtail snapper, and sitting there hanging out is that black grouper, the juvenile black grouper. Look at that guy right there. Pretty cool. And right next to him we got this schoolmaster snapper. That was a good, healthy adult one. Don't see them hardly as much as the mangroves down here. Got a couple more sergeant majors, chubs. All these pilings. These fish love structure. They'll hang around these pilings in this structure. Look at that angelfish right there. But they will congregate, especially in this deeper water area. These fish will all congregate together, like the old fisherman saying, 90% of the fish are in 10% of the water. And this spot right here is 10% of the water. It's very cool to see. All these snappers, chubs, grunts, just all hanging out right around these pilings, right around these structure points. Little sailor's choice grunt, that was the first one I've seen today. Go back down for another dive. Got the blue tang mixed in there. Those French grunts, blue grunts. Alright, to show y'all where I was snorkeling at, we got the old Google Earth open here. And yeah, so first of all, we're going to leave out of Key West, head out west. It is about a 3-hour boat ride on the Yankee Freedom over, depending on the weather. You'll end up here in the Dry Tortugas here, just at the edge of the abyss. Closest place you're going to get to is Cuba. So we'll go down here to the Dry Tortugas. We got Loggerhead Key over here out west. And then we got Bush Key in Fort Jefferson here. So first off, whenever you come down, you're going to dock up here on the south end at this dock right here. We got some boat right here, looks like it could be the Yankee Freedom, maybe some yacht, I don't know, but it's about the right size. So from here, snorkeling wise, you got about 2 options. You can go over here to the South Beach area, which is down here, or up to North Beach, which is over here. And honestly, depending on the weather, is going to really be your best bet for visibility and how many fish you're going to see depending on which way the wind's coming out of on the direction. Because we're protected down here from an east to north wind. Then if you got like a south or west wind, you're going to want to go up here to this beach. So the first wall that I was snorkeling down was going to be this outer moat wall right here. Going to be one of the most popular spots for people to come and snorkel. And like I said, the key is to get there early, be one of the first people out there. That way all less fish have been spooked and you'll be good to go. So pretty much I went all the way down this wall till about here, and then I kind of circled back out here deep looking for anything wild, and that's when I saw those two permit. Was probably somewhere out here. And then from there I went over around this turn where this old dock is and all these pilings are. Here's a bunch of great rock structure, find a bunch of different little fish in here. And then out here, once you get to the deeper water on the edge of these pilings, is where I saw those big groups of fish schooled up. Those snappers, grunts, tangs, chubs. They were just loaded up right here on this edge. And yeah, from there, this over here is a little bit out of eyesight. Maybe go over there with a buddy if you're not super experienced, someone to help you out. But yeah, you're going to want to go on this outer edge. You don't want to disturb the birds too much. There are plenty of nesting birds or birds sitting all on these pilings. And go to this outer edge, and that's going to be your best bet to see a ton of fish when you go and visit the Dry Tortugas.
It's where they kept all the gunpowder.